I love you. Welcome back, everybody, to the Couch Potatoes. I am the Green Traveler from Gorsh.
And I am the Faceless Leon. I decided recently that there's an extra syllable in there. This is Green and Faceless on the couch. You know, just because, like, I want it to be more like a name than a title.
It's more like a descriptor. Yeah, it's like
you know.
It's like the old-timey poetry where they pronounce the EDs at the end of the words. You know, it's like, dissolved. Yeah, you're that's faceless. Right. The E is pronounced.
The E is pronounced.
I like it.
Faceless Leon. This is Green Faces on the Couch, a podcast about movies and TV. And we're here back with the Disney playlist talking about Hercules.
Heracles.
Pyrenees.
Heracles.
But he has no weaknesses.
Babadook.
This has nothing to do with the Babadook.
I think this is going to be a very fun and controversial episode because I found out while watching this movie that I had never seen it before. I was totally under the impression that I've watched Hercules before, but nothing was familiar except what I'd watched on YouTube in the past like 10 years. And so I was just like, oh my god, I don't think I've ever seen this. And like most of it was, you know, pretty much a surprise as everything was going on. So I was like, okay, I really just knew the musical numbers. I don't think I ever watched this movie. And yeah, I know this upsets you, but I will. The reason I think this is a controversial episode is because I don't regret not having seen it as a kid. I'm just like, yeah, it's fine.
I feel like if you had seen it as a kid, you'd feel just completely different about it.
Maybe. I don't know. Like, I really like. I know you are also the same. We both like Roman history. I was not like in like super like big attachment to it. I just really enjoy like the King Arthur like stories and stuff like that. Like I like the I guess the fantasy of Roman history, really.
The mythology.
Well, no, I'm saying like I'm saying I enjoyed the fantasy-esque stories of Greek and Roman mythology. Like I enjoyed the history, but I like more of like the King Arthur, just like these are fantasy tales of this like era, this history period. I'm like, yeah, that was more fun for me.
Yeah, they got all the hero stories, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And like I still enjoy the history, but I'm not like super knowledgeable about it. But like I don't know, I think maybe as a kid I would have liked it more, but
see, I feel like when you're a kid is like just the perfect time to get interested and pantheons and stuff, because it almost has the same structure as a good action cartoon. Like,
yeah. I mean that's another thing though. Is like I don't think as a kid I was really interested in big buff male heroes. You know, it's like Batman was like probably the only thing.
Yeah, I mean that is a lot of Greek mythology for sure, but I think what I mean is like you have all these different gods, and they each have their own domain and their own powers,
right?
And that was so much like it was just so much the energy of the children's programming that we grew up with, anyways.
No, I know what you meant. I was just saying another example for why I didn't think I was really interested in it was that I didn't like big male heroes like this. Batman was probably the only one that I watched that I was just like, yeah.
Right.
Most of the other, like He-Man and that kind of stuff, I didn't watch that as a kid. I
didn't really watch He-Man either, but the Masters of the
Universe. I wasn't interested in buff dudes. Well, a little different today. I like some buff dudes, but it's a different type of buff dudes today.
Yeah, there's more of a range. Dudes. I feel like. Well, there's more. Whatever. Heracles.
Tell us about it.
So, what should I tell us about first? The movie or the myth?
Well, I guess let's do the movie. Let's do the
Let's
movie
do the
first,
movie
and then
first
dive
because
into
it's a good frame of reference of
how they fucked up the
what's
myths sometimes.
different. What'd you say?
I said, and we'll describe how they fucked up the myths at times.
At times. It's like the whole movie, but I do still enjoy the movie. So in Hercules, the animated movie, Hades wants to take over Olympus, and he hears this prophecy that at this time where he plans to release the Titans and take over, that if Hercules fights who his brand new born nephew, then he will lose. Hades is played by James Woods. James Woods in this.
Amazingly so.
Yeah.
If there's one thing about this movie that is great, it's James fucking Woods. Like,
he is pretty great in it.
They wanted a smooth talking, like Jafar-esque villain.
Yeah.
But then James Woods came in, they cast him, and he came in and he started doing his routine, and they're just like, no, this is fucking perfect. Yeah, let's make him a car salesman. Like, that's fine. Like that, and that's basically what they did. Was they just turned him into a fucking car salesman. It's fucking brilliant.
Yeah. Which that was also brilliant to me too, because like I was also always comparing this movie to Christian mythology too. Like he in this is very much taking on the role of the devil, and he's making deals with people. And that's very, very interesting. That's another thing about this movie, is that all the music is gospel music. And I thought that was just so clever as a child, because like, I go to church. It wasn't always gospel music at church. Sometimes it was hymns, and usually it was Christian rock, but sometimes we would go to other churches and there'd be, people just with those beautiful voices just singing it all out, and it's awesome. I really fell in love with the genre as a kid. I don't listen to it much anymore because I'm not very religious, and most of all of it is religious. But anytime a secular gospel album came out, my dad typically bought it because it's a good style of music. It lifts you up. You want to sing along. There's reason why
I was traumatized by it as a kid. Yeah.
Yes, that's what you said.
I said it off mic last time. I don't think I had it on the mic last time.
Oh no, that's right. You said that to me after recording.
Yeah,
yes.
I think it was a personal conversation afterwards, because I went to a church camp once because all my friends were going to a church camp, and that was my youth church. And I was like, yeah, sure, this will be fun. Mm-hmm. It was right at the time I'd become atheist. I had not told many of my friends that at all. And I thought it was just going to be a fun week of just, playing some really cool, fun games, because it was like a camp kind of thing. I was like, it's going to be cool. Then they had a rock band as one of their main guests, as well as a gospel band. And it was so fucking weird, because I was already like, the whole time I'm sitting there thinking like, man, this is a fucking cult. Like, all the lessons that we're having, all the weird like meet and greets and everything. Too. Yeah. It's so not hypnotizing, but like almost, what is that? Like, I guess it is hypnotizing. Like,
it's a bit of brainwashing.
Brainwashing, thank you. That's the word I'm looking for.
Manipulation, and it's not great.
It was really disturbing for me as just a coming out atheist. And I was just like, oh no, this is really weird. Yeah. And then the gospel music itself was That was when I was the most uncomfortable, because it was like mostly white people at this church, and like all the brainwashing was very like the gospel music I meant was just like very, very much like almost appropriation kind of, because it was all, I feel like it was all mostly black Christian music that they were singing.
Well, yeah, that's the genre is very much black led for sure, and born in that culture. So the band members were white? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, that would be uncomfortable to me too.
And everybody was getting super, like, how they get like super involved and all swaying, or like, going like Beatles fan crazy, like, it's just, it was off-putting. And I was, the whole time I was like, man, I shouldn't have come here. This is bad.
Yeah, that would be a little disappointing. So Fort Wayne is honestly a pretty diverse place, and my dad, he liked us to have a life that was intermingled with all different, sorts of people. And when I say that it's very diverse, there are a good number of white citizens and black citizens, and a smaller amount of Latino, and there has been a good portion of the Burmese refugees that came through there too. But when I say diverse, typically I mean the black and white population would mix together in the churches, and that was nice to have that growing up. And I forget that appropriation is a problem that should be addressed, and my appreciation of gospel music, I don't feel like I'm taking that away from their culture by appreciating it, and I feel like it is something that is open, and I could be wrong. I feel like it's something that if it's something that I'd go out and want to participate in, that would be fine. But an all white group, that does seem very, very wrong.
And it's not like saying that they probably shouldn't be able to perform in that genre, because that's not it at all. Like, I feel like that's totally fine. But it just felt weird that it was like an all white group preaching to like almost all white kids. Right. I'm struggling to remember if there was much diversity at the church, but I don't remember there being much.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like it was mostly like 90%, 95% white kids. And like, just felt weird. Like, not to say that as a 12-year-old child, I was like very knowledgeable about that. Mm-hmm. But like, I knew instinctively, I was just like, this is wrong for me. Like, I don't want to be here. And I'm not feeling the spirit like all these other kids are.
Right.
Like, they're all dancing and going wild, and I'm just like, yeah, all right. I'm gonna go to the bathroom for 20 minutes. Like, I'll be right back.
Have to escape.
But that's not.
Well, that's too bad.
Nothing against the music in this, because I do like the music. I do think the music is fine. I don't remember a lot of it. It's like Pocahontas, where it's like, I enjoy it, but it's not going to go on my replay list, because it's not it's not moving. If I was a kid and I listened to them more, sure, I would definitely probably have listened to them more often. But they don't have much of a meaning to me. Like, when I read the lyrics and everything, I'm just kind of like, yeah, that's kind of like, it's not like out there from Hunchback of Notre Dame, where there's like a beautiful fucking message about breaking through your own personal cages.
I'm going to say that, yes, the message of this movie is not some big poignant thing that they're trying to change the ideals of the youth or anything.
Right.
It's about persevering, though, and it is about trying to fit in and find your way. I identified very heavily with Hercules because I was a big clumsy glump. And he most surely is.
And I understand that is hard when you are bigger and like clumsier and that kind of a thing. But at the same time, I thought it was so funny that he was like the outcast because he was strong. Whereas most of growing up, every single popular athlete group was just like, we're all the strong kids. I'm just like, yeah, and I'm the weak fat kid, so I'll just sit over here.
But he literally destroyed everything.
I know. But I feel like nowadays when the muscle man does that, it's kind of just like, haha, yeah, good job, bro. You did it.
Well, when he destroyed the whole, I don't think it's called an Acropolis, but maybe that is what it's called. But he destroys
the marketplace.
Yeah, the whole marketplace thing. I can understand the people being pretty fucking pissed.
Oh no, I got it. I understood. I just thought it was funny that growing up it was the complete opposite, where it was like the muscular, strong people. It's like they had no trouble being included because they were just there.
That is fair.
It was the more
people always wanted me to play the sports with them until they saw me play the sports.
Yeah, you just busted all their balls.
No, I just fucked I just fucked it up every time.
I meant Hercules. Just like Hercules was just like they would play with Hercules. He just like throw the football. I mean American football.
Right.
But he's like if he were to do that, it'd be like, well, there it goes. Like
there it goes.
Now
Sorry,
we're done.
guys. Yeah, he has absolutely no self-control. Well, anyways, we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit. Hades, like I said, he got this prophecy that if Hercules fights, it's over. So he has his minions, Pain and Panic, played by Bobcat Goldthwait and Matt Frewer.
Max.
Is it Frewer?
Max Headroom.
Yeah, Max Headroom. I know him from so many other things that when you said that, I was like, I have no idea what the fuck that is.
I only know him from Max Headroom. I'm sure I know him from other stuff, but that's all he'll ever be to me. And I'm so sorry, Matt Frewer. Like
he's in so
I don't know how he
things.
feels about that. Yeah. I just Max Headroom was such a funny thing to me. Oh, I guess he was in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I've seen that. Oh, he was the guy in Watchmen. Yeah. Okay, I know exactly who he is now.
Yeah, he's in a lot of stuff. Yeah. So they take Hercules from Zeus and Hera, who are his parents. Zeus is played by Rip Torn. I always thought it was Rip Torn.
Yeah. I thought so too.
Anyhow, yeah, he plays the Zeus, the big daddy, and Hera, she has like 2 lines. That is a problem with this movie, that there is not very much female representation at all.
Yeah, and also like Zeus is like all kind and everything.
Yeah, he's not a womanizer at all. Yeah. Hera
is like such a good dad.
Yeah, he is. He's my boy.
Oh, good.
So that's not a good Rip Torn impersonation. But anyways, Samantha Eggar is Hera, and yeah, their baby gets taken away. Has to take the Grecian formula, is what Payne called it, and he sucks it down except for the last drop because they get scared by this farmer, and he becomes mortal but retains his godlike strength,
which is seen by him thrashing Payne and what's his name?
Yeah, Pain and Panic. He's just like he thrashes them as snakes because they're both shape shifters, and he's thrashing them like snakes, ties them in a knot, and throws them away. It's hilarious.
Oh, that's funny. I did enjoy that. It's always enjoyable to see a baby just beat the shit out of something.
Yes, for sure. And
can I also say that I just read that in the Swedish dub, Max von Sydow did the voice for Zeus.
Really?
I want to hear that.
That'd be cool.
That would be so fucking sinister.
So,
even though the character's not sinister at all.
No, but that's a good voice, I think, for it.
Yeah.
So a more traditional Zeus, I think that would be really good.
I think, yeah. It works. It sounds like it would. Like in my mind, it feels like it would work pretty fucking well.
Yeah. So they take Hercules in. Pain and Panic lie about it. Hercules starts to grow up. They have the scene where he destroys the marketplace, and then his parents finally tell him about the fact that they found him and that he had a symbol of the gods with him. He goes and does my favorite number, which is I didn't pull up the songs.
They don't have him in the frickin' Wikipedia. Wikipedia, what the fuck?
Go the Distance, the first part of it. This is the singing voice. Roger Bart comes in for this. And I just love the way he sings this song. It's all about how he just wants to find where he belongs. And I just identified with that so hard as a kid that I loved it. And, I feel like a little bit that I have found that in our group of friends. And that's very nice to have. Anyways, he goes to the temple, finds out Zeus is his dad. He says, go meet Phil, who is Danny DeVito, and also a satyr. And Phil's like, I don't want to do this. It's all been fucked. all the time, every time I've tried.
Well, last guy was like so fucking good until his fucking heel fell out.
That's right. Yeah, he's like that Meshuggah Hill or something like that. I don't know. He uses some kind of Yiddish word, or maybe it is a Greek word. Whatever. There's a lot of really fun stuff in the dialogue that they pepper into, and I noticed that a lot more as an adult.
Just, Danny DeVito is such a funny choice for a kid's movie, though. I love it. Like, it's a bold choice.
Oh, yeah.
And his character is just like the creepy gargoyles. He's just like very interested in fucking things. Like, it's really kind of weird that they keep putting these like characters in these kids,
he goes after
kids
all
movies
these
that
nymphs.
are just like, I want to get laid.
And he's retired, but Hercules convinces him with the assistance of Zeus's lightning bolt. He trains him up good, and then he takes him to Thebes. And on the way, he meets Megara, who goes by Meg. I'm missing the. I didn't say who played Hercules at all. Young Hercules was Josh Keaton, and then for the remainder of the movie, after he beefs up, he's played by Tate Donovan. For some reason. The voice seems exactly the same to me. I don't know. I've watched this movie so many times. It seems exactly the same. They didn't need to hire two people.
I didn't even notice the difference, honestly.
Right.
Not until I was writing the cast list down.
And Roger Bart also sounds just like them too. Like he does an amazing job mastering their voice.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like it really is well done. And Meg is voiced by Susan Egan.
Thank you. Egan? That's where I was getting at. And they're fighting Jim Cummings. he's a centaur. I think he's a river god too. But anyways, he's a river guardian. That's what Hades calls him. So Meg is struggling with Nessus, and he comes upon her and he's like, I've come to rescue you, this being Hercules. And Meg was like, no thanks, buzz off. And he's like, aren't you a damsel in distress? And this is like her iconic thing. She's like, I'm a damsel, I'm in distress, keep walking, partner, or something like that.
Yeah, she's like, I'll be just fine.
But anyways, he fights Nessus anyways and beats him. Doesn't take that long.
No, it's pretty quick. But that's one of the things I was actually kind of sad about is like she has that good line, and I was just like, again, not realizing I hadn't seen this movie. You know, it's like as I was watching, I was just like, hell yeah, I like Meg already. That was a pretty good line. And then it's like immediately revealed, spoilers, that she is a pawn in one of in one of Hades' bargains. I almost said the devil's bargains.
That's right.
But.
Yeah, she's a chip in his game. Towards his domination over the Pantheon. Yeah, it's basically he's pissed because he's Hades. Basically, he's pissed that he's stuck in his namesake, and he just wants to get out of the underworld. He thinks the dead are dead and uncouth. That's a line from one of the songs in Gospel Truth.
Yeah.
I love the.
And does he know that Hercules is alive at when Meg meets Hercules? Not then,
no,
right? He doesn't know
He
yet.
knows when she says his name and the explanation of why negotiations with Nessus went wrong. Because she's actually supposed
she was sent to negotiate.
Yeah, but he was being handsy.
Yeah, and that was like the sad thing is like she had that great line, and then you find out that she literally is just a damsel in distress.
Yeah,
like she doesn't do much in this movie besides just be the pawn of either Hades or fall in love with Hercules.
Yeah. Yeah,
and like
that's
it's just,
her role, unfortunately. Yeah. But I still like Meg.
Her big moment is sacrificing herself for the man, and I'm just like, all right. Like,
yeah, I like.
It's kind of sad.
Her attitude. Her attitude is great. She's stuck in a terrible situation, and maybe they could have written her out of that situation better. But it was a '90s movie.
Yeah,
and that is the penultimate moment of. When Hercules, who made a deal to lose his powers, gets them back, and it's the big moment. But yeah, it is kind of cheapened a little bit by the fact that Meg has very little agency. I'll agree with you.
And that's like even that too, when not to skip all the way to the end, but when he does those big things and everything, and he becomes, when he becomes godlike, Super Saiyan, and he's just like glowy. The movie just becomes too fucking easy after that, like, because like all the gods, spoilers, I'm sorry, all the gods are like beaten. It seems like they've been
beaten by Hades and the Titans. Yeah.
And then Hercules just comes in. He's just like, you're free, you're free, you're free, you're free, you're free, you're free. And I'm just like, wow, that was fucking easy. Like, was there anybody gonna stop him doing this?
A very fast climax. Like, the building action took a long time, and then the climax just happens. And
and then and when Hades is getting his just desserts at the end, like, all the villains get their just desserts, I was like, whoa, there's nothing more. That was it. Like, okay, he's done. Like, it's so quick.
But after that, he goes to the underworld, and he goes back to get Meg because she died, and he dives into because he wasn't godlike yet. This is what did it. Yeah. He jumps into, I forget what it's the river Styx, whatever, the dead river, and he jumps in there and he grabs her, but Hades is sure that he'll die because he's mortal, but because he was being selfless, when the fates go to cut his strand, it becomes a god strand, I guess, and it starts to chip away at the scissors. And she's like, "What's wrong with these scissors?" I just fucking love them. I don't know.
Hey, that's a good scene. Like, I do enjoy it, but it's just like what I meant by the just desserts was when he gets his punishment in the river Styx. I was just like, oh. I was thinking there was going to be at least one more scene, like one more fight or something. Like, I didn't think he would give up this easy, but he just kind of got just like, boop.
Yeah, goes back to hell.
I was like, okay.
Yeah, maybe, I'm just giving justifications to this movie. Maybe he, like, well, I have eternity. I'll think of something else. Hey, let's take a quick time out because I am super thirsty. I'm out of water.
Yeah, there is some fun stuff in the middle there that I jumped way past.
Sure.
Specifically, the big Hydra fight, which is one of like his his first big accomplishments.
Mm-hmm. Gee, mister, you're really strong. Yeah. Sorry, this is like the movie that me and my brother quote all the
time. Oh man. Yeah, it's so weird that I never watched it because it's like I think my brother would have liked it. He probably did definitely watched it, but I don't remember it. But that scene alone, the Hydra scene, I want to talk specifically about that because I thought the animation for the most part in this film was good. I enjoyed most of like the what's the Greek the god heavens Olympus, Mount Olympus.
Yeah, Mount Olympus.
Yeah. I thought the stuff there was beautiful. Like, I loved the imagery up there.
All the colors.
I loved pretty much everything besides the computer animated scenes. Like, the very obvious CGI scenes, I enjoyed. But the Hydra scene was god-awful. I watched that, and I was just like, oh my god, this looks ugly as sin. Like,
they're all
and it's not that bad. I'm making it so much worse.
It is kind of like that old computer screensaver that like snakes around the pipes. That is...
Well, it's like so like the 90s movies that would use like CGI. I don't have like a good example, but it's like 90s
Hercules.
live action movies that would use CGI.
Yeah.
But like it looked like that, where it was like it was very obviously done on a computer, and it was very like blocky and gross, and like it just looks so silly. And I know it's bad. I was happy when I was looking up the review, like people's reviews back in the day, critics and everything. There were a lot of critics who said that it looked ugly as fuck. So I was like, okay, it's not just because it aged badly. There were critics back in the day who were like, that scene looked bad. You guys got to work on your computer animation game because if we're gonna be doing this going forward, that ain't it. Like,
I will say, as a kid though, I was legitimately scared at that scene. For one, like, the hero gets fucking swallowed.
Yeah, right. He has a pretty epic moment, but it's also a cliched moment. But I'm not sure if it was that cliched when this came out. It's kind of
sure, and it's also like I was a kid. I mean, I was 5 at the most.
Yeah, it is definitely terrifying, but I just feel like I don't know if it was like it definitely didn't start with Hercules, but I don't feel like it was that big of a constant thing in movies where like a hero would get swallowed. But like it seems like in the past 20 years I've seen that scene so many times now.
Yeah,
that
definitely.
I think a lot of movies probably, I don't want to say they took it from Hercules, but it seemed like it's just become a cliche now.
Hercules.
Yeah, I'm sure there was a movie before it.
Yeah, the false death, for sure.
Yeah,
yeah.
But it was a great moment. I did enjoy that part. But I think by that time, once that happened, like, I don't know. I'm trying to remember that scene, but I feel like that scene in particular that part of the scene wasn't CGI. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that part was going back to the normal way they usually animate. Because it was just the scenes of all the heads thrashing around and everything, where it was like you could tell it was like a program.
Yeah, for sure.
That's not to knock the rest of the movie, because the rest of the movie's animation and drawing style and everything I thought was beautiful. Like Meg's a little thin, but
yeah, she's a skeleton in a toga. Yeah. So before we do closing statements, I know we've talked a while. I would like to talk a bit about this character in the mythology, because we've done that with the other Disney movies so far, and this is also just the Greek and Roman mythos is just something that I really enjoy. So I'd love to delve into that a little bit. Hopefully not take too much more time, but hopefully you guys enjoy it as well. Originally, it was not Hercules. That's the Roman name. The Greek name is Heracles. But the man was not born Heracles. He was born Alcides. That is what his mother named him. He is a demigod, one of many that Zeus had on Earth. And Hera hated that her husband was this adulterous person. And she hated it once Hercules found out that he was a demigod. I think that Zeus revealed himself to him at some point.
As a swan?
No, yes, as a swan and a golden shower.
Hello, son.
So he was hated by Hera, Heracles was. And that's why he took the name, to show her that he was willing to be a devoted stepson. But she still hated him.
I was going to ask if Cleese meant fuck you.
No, it did not. It's just a male version name of Hera. And
I think it would be hilarious if it was just Hera, fuck you.
Hera, fuck you. So I don't know if he then marries Megara, or if it's if he was already married to Megara at this time. But that is his wife's name. They had some children. And Hera, because she hated Hercules, drove him mad, and he murdered Megara and his children.
Fuck.
Yes, this is the story of Hercules. Damn. So
sad.
In Greek culture, if you murder anyone, there is a big possibility that you will be avenged by their children, but also... if they're like a king or something, their people might kill you. But if they're a bad king, they might step back and say, okay, that happened. However, you are then banished from that kingdom, and you have to go to another kingdom and be purified by the king there. That's part of the culture. It could be done by a priest as well. A priestess is it too. But Hercules goes, usually like you're banished to somewhere particular. And in this case, he's banished to an island. This is all from memory. He's banished to a kingdom where the king was either Hera was his patron goddess, or he was a descendant of hers in some way. Can't recall. anyhow. Usually labors are involved to get this purification, right? So he gives Hercules the task of killing the Numian lion, who has been doing some slight terrorizing recently and is legendarily impossible to kill. It is impervious to arrow and swords. So
snap.
He goes in there with just his club, and it too does nothing against the Numian lion, and eventually he kills it just by strangling it. So from then on, whenever there is a drawing of Hercules, he is wearing the pelt of the Numian lion. That's just interesting. And then he's given 11 more labors, and this is known as the 12 labors of Heracles.
Right.
And
if you've seen that too in
that's right.
comic books, like with Superman.
Yeah. And even in this animated movie, they go through his labors in this montage during Zero to Hero, which they use that number for the theme song, just a clip of it for the theme song of the TV show, and oh my god, it made me hate that song because it's literally just the most repetitive part of the song that they use.
And I hate a montage, so that was a little upsetting. I thought it would have been kind of fun to actually like see it happen.
Yes,
to go through the trials.
I agree, and this movie really is cut to the point.
Yeah,
so
there's a lot of montages.
There's a lot of montages. 3. So another thing is like there's in the mythos a bit of confusion around Hercules because he eventually dies, but he is later revered as a god, and the gods lived on Mount Olympus. Yeah. So there is some conflict on what happens at the end of this story. Like originally he dies in it, and then later he is revered as a god himself. So
I read in passing that he had died from the centaur.
Nessus killed him?
It says here that what I had briefly read was that Nessus was killed by Heracles, and whose poisoned blood in turn killed Heracles. So I don't think Nessus per se killed them, but somebody used the blood of Nessus.
It might have been while he was fighting Nessus, and maybe he beat Nessus and then he died, because there's a lot of myths that go that way.
Maybe. I don't know how it went.
It seems like there's some confusion among the later Greek people anyways. So, and right. Oh man, the cult around Hercules in Roman times was huge. Like especially during the emperor's era, they all praised Hercules until they became Christians, obviously. Yeah. But
they like big buff men, man.
They do. They liked big buff man, and they really, really hoped that they were descended from him. So that's what I wanted to say about the differences in the mythology. It is obviously vastly different. And Hera is the villain, not Hades, and she just hates him. There's no takeover plot.
That would have been pretty interesting to have Hera as the villain.
Yes.
But
she was in that 90s TV show. In that 90s TV show, Hercules.
I never watched it.
Yeah, it's the one that's in the same verse as Xena. Everybody watched Xena, but nobody... But Hercules was the original show.
I've seen bits of Xena. I haven't watched a lot of it, but I've definitely seen pieces. Yeah. Certain pieces.
All the dads liked it, so...
Oh, man.
Let's do closing statements.
Yeah. I know it's bad of me that, like, I'm only giving it 2.5 stars. I know I didn't watch it as a kid. This is coming fully from an adult. I didn't like the female characters. I thought they were very weakly written, and that's always a big issue with me. That's not hugely detractive from this movie, because I do think that there is a decent message there still, and I like the music. Mm-hmm. Paul Schaefer is in it. I love Paul Schaefer. He plays Hermes. He's the voice of Hermes.
Yeah, I forgot.
Whose show was he on, Paul Schaefer? He was the David Letterman. He was the band leader for David Letterman. He's in a lot of other stuff too, but that's where I knew him, because we watched a lot of David Letterman when I was a kid. But I loved, he has one funny fucking line, and I can't remember it at all. But it's like, somebody tells him to go warn Zeus that, like, somebody's on the way. Yeah. And he's like, I'm on it, baby.
I'm
and he
going,
just takes
baby.
off like,
yeah.
I'm going, baby. That's it. I'm going. No, I'm gone. I'm gone,
baby. Yeah. Yeah. Because also Hermes is super fast. Yeah. So it's fun.
Exactly. He's the Flash. He's the Flash to Superman's Hercules.
And I just love that they made him look like the real person. It's so good. With just the glasses. So all they had to do was put the glasses on him. Oh, shit.
Yeah. I fucking love it, man. It's hilarious. So I just want to give him a shout out because I thought he was great. But all in all, I give it 2.5 stars. I think it is a fine film. I think it has a lot of good qualities. I couldn't stand the fucking Hydra scene. That really bothered me. But other than that, I understand that most of my other issues are just me issues. And that the film as an animated film is fun and fine.
Right.
But it's not one of my favorite Disneys.
That is all fair. I honestly agree with all those points that you put forth as negatives towards this movie. Really, it's not even my favorite Disney movie, but I owe it, I feel like, because it really got me into this mythology thing, and I love it.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's one of my favorite things to dive into, and it's one of my favorite things to include in my writing is like mythological backstory. I just love how complex it is. Even when it's contrary, it's interesting. Yeah. So I owe it that, and then the fucking music. I really like the music, and I feel bad that you don't enjoy it the same way, but that's okay. You don't have to.
I think it's good.
Yeah.
It's just I'm not gonna be replaying it because it's like none of it grabbed me, and like I mean the only thing I can remember is the Hercules, and I don't even think that's like really part of it too much. Like
that's like the last bit right before the credits roll. Yeah,
that's all I remember. Like that and Zero to Hero. I remember from Zero to Hero.
Yeah,
I mean, and most of it is just the muses. Whenever the muses are singing, I kind of remember that because I do enjoy them. I think they have some beautiful voices.
Good. Yes. Also, that's another fun thing is that they are both the muses, which are goddesses, also Zeus's children, and they are being a Greek chorus through this play that we're watching. So it's and then they're singing, which it's nice. Just like all these different layers onto what they are, and I think it's really fun.
They did their research. They definitely did their research, and they tossed half of that research out the window.
Yes, for fun. Yes, they tossed it out, poured in fun.
To give the muses a shout out, though, Lilius White, Cheryl Freeman, LaShans, Roz Ryan, and Vanessa. I'm going to say Vanessa, but it looks like Venice. E. Thomas. Venice. Maybe it's Venice. Venice E. Thomas. Y. Thomas. Why did I say E? Venice Y. Thomas.
Interesting.
I went for Spanish there. I just saw a Y with a period and thought E.
That's definitely E. Okay, yeah, I get you. So I give it a full face. I got a lot of nostalgia for the movie, but I recognize that it's not a perfect movie, and also I just want more. Like I feel like they could have done more in this world. Yeah, because they built the world fine. I think for a fun mix of this ancient mythology and what our expectations of our culture are, they did a really fun job, I think.
Completely on, like I do enjoy it a lot, and like as I said, I give it 2.5. But if it didn't have James Woods, I would probably not at all enjoy this movie. Like James Woods makes this whole movie for me. Like he is so fucking good. I did read that he was like impossible to animate because he would just talk too fast at times, and they were just like, man, we don't know what to do here.
Yeah. I could see that
like, it was,
I wonder if they had the same problem with Robin Williams, because that guy's fast.
Probably. I think I'd remembered that there was like an animator who spent like 2 weeks on 1 second of dialogue for like James Woods, because it was just like it was too hard to get the sounds right. I say 1 second. I think it was 2 weeks for 5 seconds. Like it was something like that. Like
that's still crazy.
It's just ridiculous.
That's still crazy.
Dude, it was too much of a car salesman. He did it good. Like, it was so well done. And they incorporated his sneer, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I love how they included, like, Danny DeVito, too. Like, he's kind of morphed into Philatides a little bit. They did a really good job of taking the voices that you recognized and making them actually present in the mannerisms, too.
It's so good. Well done, animators.
Well
Except
done.
for the CGI Hydra scene. You failed on that. F. Brings your whole grade down to a B+, A-. See me after class. I am the Green Traveler from Gorsh.
We did the show. Held you here long enough. If you appreciated it, go down to patreon.com/greenandfaceless. Check out our tiers. We'd appreciate your support. I am the Faceless Leone. Thank you for listening. Safe travels and good night. Green and Faceless on the Couch is a proud production of FictionWorks 19. Are you a fan of the show? Feel free to contact us at greenandfacelessfans@gmail.com or visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/greenandfaceless. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, or rate us on Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much for listening.